Hi Sloths, and welcome back to Ebon Light. I believe this is the 9th episode of Ebon Light, so hooray. In the last episode, we ran away from Dele's mansion because we were getting chased by the Garlean military. And we ran, we bumped into Vaden, we ran some more, and then we ended up in this cabin in the woods, which is kind of probably a reference to the actual Cabin in the Woods film or horror book. I'm not sure if it's a book or not, but probably is. Wouldn't surprise me. Anyway, in this episode we are going to be staying in the Cabin in the Woods, but before that we actually need to not only look at our stats once again, like we do every episode, but we also need to talk to the rest of the elves that are in this cabin with us, and then we're going to go and do the whole Cabin in the Woods section, I guess you could say, like the whole existing and living in the cabin in the woods. Anyway, as you can see from last time, inertia was creeping up on us, but thanks to knowing what we actually want, which is to go back to Edric, our desire just went from nowhere near anything to woo, right there. And we also have some pretty decent faith in our comrades now, instead of it being all super doubtful. All we need now really is some rest. We really do need some rest. Maybe be a little bit more charitable and a little bit more cunning, maybe. That might do us some good. And soon we're actually going to be, in about maybe 2, maybe 3 episodes time, we might actually be choosing who it is that we want as our love interest partner person thing. We'll be properly choosing a route soon, so that's cool. Let's get into the rest of the video, I suppose, then. Last time we talked to Lacey, Aga, and Vaden, so let's talk to... I think we should talk to Earnall first, because he seems like the only one who just does not care. Or does he? So let's talk to Earnall, shall we? Earnall? His attention shifted over to me in surprise. After a brief hesitation, he stepped away from Dele and Haron and approached me. You know, when you left Dele's house, we were scrambling to find you. Luckily, Calipo and Vaden found you, and I should have stayed where I was, in Dele's house with soldiers approaching. No, there wasn't a clear solution for you. I know that, I'm just surprised it worked out. We all seem to be working together, it's not so bad, it's a nightmare, there's no point in dwelling on it. Yeah, I do like the fact that everyone is like sort of working together, that's kind of cool. All these people who... I mean, Haron doesn't seem to like Dele very much, and Dele hates Haron, kind of. And then there's Calipoa, who kind of only really looks out for her cousins and such, but is now looking out for Dele and Lacey and me as well. Mainly me, but, you know. And then there's Lacey, who... he doesn't like anyone at all. It's his job, but for some odd reason he's decided to be super nice to us and help us out with things. Basically, he's committed treason for us, which is quite a big deal. Earnall doesn't really like anyone either, but he's, apart from his brother Haron, but he's helping out as well. Vaden, I'm never gonna stop making that mistake. Vaden, absolutely despises, I think, Dele and definitely Lacey. I'm not sure about Dele, but I know he absolutely hates Lacey. But it's nice to see all these elves who don't like each other work together. And I don't know who Dele doesn't like. Dele hates Haron. I've already said that. Anyway, on the other hand, consider that all of us here seem to be in accord, and I'm still alive. Something is working. He peered at me in silence, as though trying to understand something that had thus far confounded him. We'll see if your confidence is warranted. It seemed to me he thought I knew something he didn't, or at least suspected it. It's very dangerous out here, but if you fortify the cabin when we leave, and you keep quiet and out of sight, and as you said, we have this assembly of people in addition to Calipo's aid, you'll have a fighting chance at least. I'm glad you're here. I'll definitely fight. I'll do my best. Yeah, I'll do my best. I looked around the cabin and sucked in a deep breath, trying to stave off the overwhelming sense of dread. Thus far, I had managed it handily. You can move that table in front of the door, and you'll fit under the bed. If something does manage to get in here, hide under there. Harpies hunt mostly with the eyes, so if you can, hide. He was trying to help me, though whether it was from a sense of obligation, desperation, or compassion, I wasn't sure. Thank you. Let's just be nice. I nodded at him. Alright, thank you. I mustered up a smile, and he returned it for a brief moment. Vaden and Balenciaga might have more advice for you, though who's to say how reliable Balenciaga is? All I'm sure is he cares about is getting paid. But Dele said this should only take a few days. I'll let you get back to your conversation. Yes, that's probably for the best. Those two make questionable decisions sometimes. He stole another glance at Haron and Dele, then looked back at me. Keep your wits about you. We'll be back for you soon. So it seems like Earnall is nicer than he lets on. So, in that case, let's just summon Haron. I summon thee, almighty Haron. Mavis. I made the mistake of catching Haron's gaze from the other side of the cabin. He's very, very energetic and very much interested in either me or the coffin doll. We have no idea just yet. He unceremoniously broke from the conversation he was in and approached me. Well, today has been eventful. You mean you don't do this every day? Not that I wouldn't like to. Ever since I met you, life has been significantly more exciting. You don't usually have occasion to come out to your infested woods. Every now and then, but the soldiers coming to collect you for assassination. My valiant cousins, Calipo and Vaden, swooping in to rescue you at the last minute. I just realised that Vaden is his cousin, not his brother. Wow, I'm an idiot. It's astonishing. I'm only sorry to have missed it firsthand. Yeah, he is way too excited about this. Are you always this excitable, Haron? Mad really, doesn't it seem to you that it's all coming together just so? If you don't believe that, then doesn't at least the thrill of getting away with the scandal of the coffin tall in the heart of Gallia with our Grand General at your heel, doesn't that excite you? No, I'm exhausted. Knob off. All I want is to curl up somewhere and rest. I'm not sure I'll be able to, but I'd very much like to. You'll be safe here. You can rest. Vaden and Balenciaga are going to keep the Harpies at bay, and no one comes to this cabin anymore. You're certain that it'll be safe? Very confident in it, yes. I've got the sense that just over the horizon things will brighten considerably. Do you think so? Yes, I can't say I've predicted what will become of you and the Covental, but I don't believe you'll be pursued anymore. I think you will do the pursuing. That would be a nice switch. I would welcome the change. Yes, would you seek revenge, to right the wrongs, to go home, to find answers? Oh, I just want to go home. I would go home. Are you very homesick? All I know is, back home, no one tried to have me killed. Save perhaps Rylan, given all that's happened. Rylan, we haven't heard his name in a very long time. He doesn't really make much of an appearance in this game, which is kind of, meh. I don't know. Maybe there'll be a sequel where Rylan is like super, interested in everything, and Rylan comes back and does some stuff and gets us into some other kind of scandal with a different nation or whatnot. I have no idea. I hope you get what you want someday. So take heart, don't let them manipulate you into obedience or being fearful when there was no cause. All will be well, Madrilly. What is that word that you keep using? I really want to know. I really want to know what Madrilly means. Alright, I have to ask, what does the word you keep saying mean? Madrilly? He smiled, averting his gaze. It means something like shining light. Why do you call me that? It's what you are. I should at least keep an ear to whatever you're saying. They're saying. He smiled at me and, looking very much reluctant, walked back toward Dele and Earnall. So he just buggers straight off after that. The last person to talk to is Dele. Dele, I don't know what it is, but that face of his just creeps me out. And the voice that I give him, it's like a mix of what's his name from ReZero now? There's an anime called ReZero, and there's this like magician person, this great mage, who runs this mansion that the main characters sort of live at, and I can't remember his bloody name, but he has that sort of voice to him, and then it like dips. I don't know, you'll have to watch it, I can't explain it. And then the other sort of like bit of his voice that reminds me of someone is Maximilian Pegasus from Yu-Gi-Oh! I'm pretty sure a lot of people know how he sounds, but that's kind of what his voice reminds me of. So let's talk to Dele. Dele? He stopped mid-sentence and turned his attention toward me, then nodded and waved Earnall and Haron to continue. I just realised I can't hear any of this music. I wonder if it's my headset. I hope it's not like super duper quiet for you, because having a bit of music would be super nice. I don't know. Anyway, the two of us took a few steps into a corner of the cabin, though there was no real privacy. Earlier, though I would have preferred you'd stay in my home, it worked out to our advantage. The soldier who was so certain he'd find you could not. It will probably only exacerbate Garloy's suspicions, but without evidence he will likely move slower. I was scared I didn't know what else to do, and what would you have done if I'd stayed? I would do it again. I want off this island. Let's throw our, our desire into like overdrive and just tell him that all we want is to go home. I would do it again. I'm not going to sit tight while you elves decide what you want to do with me. I would suggest you give that some thorough thought. I've said it before, but where are you going to go? This is an island, and now it is an island full of soldiers looking for you. Maybe I'll swim and get me a boat. Then if you're so sympathetic to my situation, such an ally to my cause, and so powerful and well connected, can't you charter a boat for me off this bloody island? I would only be running from the unavoidable. I can't speak. Unavoidable. There we go. The coffin tall is in your blood, and eventually it will overtake you one way or another. We hope that it is not a detrimental overtaking, but if you seek to handle it alone, stop acting like you're doing this for my sake. This is about what you want. That's true. I want to bear witness to what becomes of the coffin tall of you. Never mind. And there it is. The coffin tall represents many things to my people. For some, like most of us here, the anticipation to uncover years of wondering, the temptation of untapped power, is a powerful allure. Hello? My brain keeps freezing up. Where am I? Oh yeah. But there are some who fear it, not because of the horrors it may bring to its bearers, but because of the secrets its existence may uncover. You see, the Covental is real. It brings with it more questions than answers. It forces the light and shadows many of us would rather ignore. So you're saying there are a lot of elves very interested in what becomes of me? Yes, a lot of elves who have long been taught to conquer their fears with violence. And sadly sometimes lacking the insight to realise this does not mean merely killing that which frightens you. There are elves afraid of me, in a manner of speaking. I expect, should it be a path you wish to take, you could confirm their fears with just the smallest dash of suggestion. What would that accomplish? I'll keep that in mind. That sounds like a plan. I don't want your advice. Yeah, what would that accomplish exactly? To what end? Wouldn't frightening them make them more violent? It might, yes. I'm not suggesting you do this. I'm merely pointing out the potential, should it ever seem a wise course to take. Personally, I found intimidation to be a fickle, if powerful, beast. Rarely can you intimidate without ever being called to prove yourself. The trick is in fabricating proof, or, if you must, proving yourself as little as possible, with as little risk as possible. And when it comes that you find yourself proving your power, you establish it thoroughly. Thanks for your advice, Dele. You're rather unsettling, by the way. This whole Onyx Chandler thing works out. That's all I wanted. You are rather unsettling. Has anyone ever told you you're rather unsettling to be around? He seemed mildly surprised, if amused. Humans seem more unnerved by me than most. Not bloody surprised. You just exude trustworthiness. Well, some things are just unavoidably in one's nature. And that's it. We're done talking, so let's just sit down and wait. I glanced around the cabin again in one final, exhausted sweep before taking a seat on one of the cabin's 3 beds. This was where I would yawn. Ugh. This was where I would be spending my next few days. And there we go. We are now just living in the cabin in the woods. Cool. After the elves left, I did my best to get comfortable. I couldn't help but notice the similarities to the cabin I grew up in. Hopefully, there were still certain stark differences that kept the illusion at bay. The wooden plank keeping the door locked from the inside was a particular comfort that Vanya and I never had. I never really had anything to fear from anything that could open doors before. Yawn. Ugh, I hate yawning. It's not fun. I was again and again astounded by how well armed the abandoned cabin was. The more I dug around, the more weapons I found. In addition to 3 old swords and a stringless bow, there was a cache, including an axe, a small blade, rope, and bowstring. I put the axe under the makeshift mattress. Why'd you choose the axe? I would have gone with a sword, seriously. I disassembled it and kept the blade with me at all times. So... Oh, wait, no, we did get a blade. I don't know what that axe was about, though. Oh well. As the elves had suggested, I remained as quiet as I could. But I was... I really must stop yawning. Bloody hell. Not fun. But it was difficult to remain quiet for what felt like days. The cabin had no windows, only slits in the walls covered by metal. I wasn't completely sure what they were for, but I got it in my head that they were designed for shooting arrows through. I tried to peel back the metal once, but it made such a loud noise I thought I thought better of it immediately. Thus I was surrounded to staying... Oh, surrendered to staying quiet in a dim cabin with a single lantern. It was difficult to determine the time of day and... Seriously, I really must stop yawning. That's not fun at all. Now, as a result, I wasn't sure how much time had passed, but I knew it had been at least 2 days. There was such a strange temptation to try one of the window slits again, or better, peek outside the door. One that grew stronger by the hour. The scouts hadn't been able to tell me how long it would be until they'd be able to check in on me. I suppose 2 days had seemed like more than enough time, because I found it increasingly... fucking yawning. So annoying. Because I found it increasingly difficult to remain calm. My mind began to conjure up scenarios where the scouts had been caught, all the elves aiding in our scheme rounded up, an executioner on his way to the cabin at any given moment, or worse, I would be left out here to rot, merely waiting until I ran out of supplies, or was finally driven out into a forest of harpies, racing for a shore where I could not swim. The mental theatrics were not helping. And there's some knocking at the door. My eyes darted to the cabin's door. A soft, rapid tap trailed from outside the door. It moved along the wall until it stopped at the corner of the cabin. Then it began again. Having turned the corner, the tapping then made its way deeper, homing in on where I stood. I stayed as still as I could, barely daring to breathe. My eyes began to burn as I refused to blink. No further sound came. Let's prepare for a fight. My hand crept slowly to the dagger. I kept on my person. I gripped the handle and gingerly moved my arm in a position ready to strike. In an effort to prepare myself, I tried to imagine what was on the other side of the wall. Surely it wasn't Vaden or Laciaga come to check on me. This definitely was not the password we decided on. I began to question everything any of the elves had told me. Their motivations were surely unknown to me, and perhaps this was part of their scheme. Were they trying to provoke me, frighten me, or is it not an elf at all? There were no further sounds. With each breath I thought I'd provoke something from outside the wall, but nothing came. Let's stay put a while longer. I told myself to stay quiet a while longer, but surely whatever was on the other side of the door had not left so quickly. I stood where I was, dagger ready, for what seemed a very long time. When I began to relax my stance, the noise returned. The tapping had moved to the other side of the cabin where the beds were. I felt my body began to shake. The tapping moved toward the door of the cabin again, where there was a sudden and loud bang. I gasped, and instantly a shrill scream rang out. The shaking began to take over my body, as more voices joined the verse, each a long and ugly sound ringing out in an awful chorus. Those would be the Harpies. So let's just trust that the walls and door will hold. I could only hope that Lacey or Vaden did indeed have a handle on the beast, and that this cabin would withstand this assault. And so I was determined to do nothing but wait. I watched as the door thumped against the plank, ready to jump up and hold it in place if it began to rock out of its brace. The knowledge these creatures were intelligent enough to concentrate on the door was in its own a whole new level of fear. How clever and relentless were they? The barrage didn't die down for hours, and never died fully. The Harpies, as I was now sure to be contending with, lost some of their vigour, but still they scratched and thumped, clicked and screeched. The noise was becoming maddening. I was beginning to wonder if my mind would dismantle faster than the walls would. In outrage, I questioned where the scouts that were allegedly protecting me were. I'm losing my voice. Ugh. Okay. Surely they had not succumbed to these beasts, and my voice is still going. That's not good at all. Ugh. Ugh. Is my voice working now? Nope, still. Oh well, I'm actually gonna lose my voice, I think. Oh well, only about 5 minutes left until I can end the recording, I suppose. Surely instead they were merely failing to protect me, be it complacency or they'd been prevented somehow. Did that mean then I would be here indefinitely? The thought was terrible, and I couldn't shake it. Forever? Okay, sorry for that little cut there. I was trying to sort my voice out because I was like losing my voice and stuff. And anyway, let's continue. What? My voice cracked. Mine was just doing the same thing. It'd been a long time since I'd spoken. The Harpies outside piped up loud again in response, though by then my concentration had fully shifted to the new anomaly. What? There was no response, but still I became sure that I'd heard another. It had not truly come from mind or ear, but rather somewhere in between, this quality alone disturbing, but also the word I knew it to say. Forever? Still there was no response. Perhaps the walls would indeed last longer than I. I warned you. That voice, what was it? It wasn't mine. When I heard 2 taps, a pause 3 taps, a pause 1 tap, I nearly leapt out of bed. Mavis! Lacey! Quiet. Let me in. I quickly, though mindfully quiet, opened the door to let Lacey in. He rushed in silently, and then immediately locked the door again behind him. Is something out there? He shot me a dire glare, then slowly put his finger to his lips. Let's just stay quiet. Let's do as he says. I stayed quiet after that, which was obviously desired. My eyes kept on the cabin door, watching for any movement, trying not to, but unable to, stop imagining what we needed to be quiet for. We both stayed quiet for a long time. He kept his eyes fixed on the front door, with an intense sort of focus that did nothing for my nerves. In the silence, with little to do but to remain as still as I could, wondering just what the full nature of what was outside the cabin, I had mentally prepared a long list of questions, all of which went flying out the window when a loud knock came from the cabin door. About time, Bewana. I don't know what Bewana means or is. I don't know. Assuming then I could finally speak, the first question in mind sprung out without much thought. Who is it? Lacey tossed his head and waved me over. Dele, I guess. Earnall, perhaps. It doesn't matter. Someone to explain and get you out of here. He opened the door. And it is indeed Dele. Julien, everything's all right now? Oh, he came himself. You're either desperate or she's worth a lot more than you're letting on. I appreciate your timely intervention, Lacey. Anyway, he didn't come alone. He certainly didn't. As futile an affray as ever. Oh, shut up. We all know who put in the legwork here. Commander. It's Mavis, and in one piece. That does warm a cold heart. When they told me they were keeping you out here, I thought they'd all lost their minds. It obviously worked out, though. Barely. In a bad mood, Lacey? The way is clear. We shouldn't talk here. They'll regroup in short time. He means clear, in the sense that the Harpies are dead. I hope you're not squeamish, Madra. I'm not. Let's go. I nodded. I'm not. Excellent. Let's go. As you say. And there we have it. Saving this game. And that's going to do it for this episode. I nearly lost my voice, which is not good, and I don't want to lose my voice again, so I think this is going to be the last recording of this day. Hopefully it is, because I've never actually lost my voice before, and I kind of want to keep it that way. So yeah. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe, it's always free. Might as well ding that little notification bell as well whilst you're at it. And yeah, I'll see you later.